Hey everybody, it's me again, and well, the day has come for the Avatar to return in live action. I'm sorry, any joy? No, I can't. I can't hear any cheering. I can't hear any cheering. Okay, I get it. I get it. Yeah, 'cause I was apprehensive too. I pretty much was like, no, no. But at the same time, well, there were two things that I knew going into this. One, we've already seen the worst that could happen to the Avatar series, and that's called the movie, and that's called directed by Shyamalan. Not that Shyamalan's a terrible director necessarily, though he does dip into pretty bad territory, but this was easily his worst movie, bar none. I mean, if you find something worse, please leave it in the comments and let me know how anything could be worse than Last Atrocity. I mean, Last Abomination. I mean, Last Airbender. And, well, the other thing that I also knew going into it is that nothing can beat this show. Nothing's going to beat the original show no matter what. I mean, if this reboot series was great, cool. But it's still not gonna beat the original. I mean, there's just no way. I mean, the show had established characters and made them in such a unique way, all the twists you could not see coming. I mean, maybe you could if you knew how to predict shows, which kudos, because I can too. But I they took a unique idea and played with it. Let the characters breathe. They were unique. They stayed with you in such a way that I was precious. I and I'm a huge Avatar fan. I was a huge fan just after watching the show, and I think Legend of Korra is actually not that bad too. But I'm sure we'll talk about that another time, and I guess I'll talk about the movie another time too, because there's actually something I want to do with that. So, anyways, um, let's talk about the series. So, I yesterday the first 8 episodes came out, and currently I'm on episode 3, but I still think it's worth talking about because, well, I might as well say what I think of this series so far. Well, I would say that after just watching one episode, it's 2/3 great. It's 2/3 great. I actually like this. I mean, okay, I don't think it's perfect at all. No, I am. I'll talk about the cons in just a moment, but we're gonna go through the first episode, and there will be spoilers in it. I mean, I know we all know what happens in Avatar. For those of us who love the show, who have seen it, yeah, we know the spoilers. But shockingly, this show actually does twists and turns on the story that even I did not see coming, starting with the first 5 minutes of the first episode. So, usually, so what do we remember about the first 5 minutes of the first episode in the original series? It's, aside from the intro, aside from the intro, Sokka and Katara, just going fishing, and, her, practicing her water bending. And this is before they meet Aang, who is a complete stranger out of complete nowhere. Well, this movie actually starts 100 years ago, just before Sozin's comet, where the Earth Kingdom spies have just taken the Fire Lord's plans to attack the Earth Kingdom, and the spy gets caught after an epic fight between him and the Fire Nation soldiers. And then he's brought to Fire Lord Sozin, and he said, "Oh yeah, I totally wanted you to have that because that's not where I'm attacking." He completely misled misled the entire kingdom, and and diverged them away from the from the air temples where he was actually going to attack. I mean, I don't know if there's like a book series describing this, but good grief, that is epic. That's an epic way to start, and I and then it shows Aang and Monk Gyatso and his fellow air nomads and the and his friends and so forth, his life at the air temple, and I you almost just feel your heart tearing apart every time they say, "Oh, we're gonna watch we're gonna be part of the Comet Festival," because you know what's going to happen next ultimately, and yeah, it plays out. I Aang is told he's the Avatar, and he has to go that same night, kind of, I guess, and I mean we'll get into that. And the Fire Nation attacks that same night while there's a storm and a comet going on, and then he meets a Katara and Sokka 100 years later, after being freed from the iceberg, and finds out that that one nation is gone because of him, and now the Fire Nation are pretty much almost in a majority in control of everything, and he wants to set it back to right. And he just but Zuko is on the hunt for him, and he manages to escape Zuko actually pretty easily. I and then he goes to find that the air temple is indeed gone, and everything he knew and loved a is obliterated. Where, oh my gosh, where do I start about this? I mean, first of all, this is everything that Shyamalan should have done. And when I say everything, I mean literally everything. I The opening fight scene is epic, and the bending. I mean, you. I mean, for any of you who were unfortunate enough to see the movie itself, you probably remember that one particular scene where these earthbenders just do this marching dance, and then just do a couple do like 5 moves, and then um fling a pebble at the Fire Nation. It just looked pathetic. And in here, the Earthbenders do exactly what they're supposed to do. I mean, the opening fight scene. This guy can. The Earthbending spy actually does. He makes earthquakes. He pulls apart the Earth. He throws the Earth at them. He does everything with it. It's like watching the cartoon. It's just Shyamalan, what were you doing with that 150 million to begin with? I mean, this is what you were supposed to do. And on top of that, the Fire Nation doesn't just need existing fire to bend fire, like the waterbenders do. This series acknowledges that the fire comes from within for them. It's like, yeah, duh. How did you forget that, Shyamalan? Why did you forget that? Oh wait, because you're a genius writer. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you're a genius somewhere, but this was not your time. Okay. I'll try and stop talking about the series. No, I'll try and stop talking about the movie. If I can help it. But basically, yeah. And on top of that, these actors emote. This was another thing that was missing in the movie. these actors can emote, they can act, they really, you really come to care for these people. Maybe not as much as the original show, but you still come to care for them. And oh gosh, and um, I the bending just looks so epic. I don't think that the airbending looks that great necessarily because, well, but then again, uh, they're still working on the effects for it, kind of. But then again, it doesn't look awful. But it does look similar to what Shyamalan did. But I guess that wasn't something that could be helped. At least the water bending actually looks better. And the editor did not forget when to put in the effects for what was being bent. And the moves, too. Everybody moves quickly. There are no long shots panned out of the fight to make it. To make the fight look slower and less cool, which is what Shyamalan did. No, it paces like an actual fight that's happening now. It's just so good. I and and the fact that this takes this does not repeat everything that necessarily repeat everything that was in the original show is is perfect. Is great. I mean, I won't say that everything's perfect, but the fact that it takes different angles from the show and focuses on that moment. Like, we never saw, we did see eventually how and why Aang ran away and what his life was like, but this actually takes the first episode to explore that. So you kind of get to know Aang a little more before he's in the iceberg. And I actually think it's very interesting. And I felt the relationship between him and Gyatso. I We didn't really get to explore it that much in the original series. We did somewhat. Heck, we even found out that Aang is I in his previous life was Gyatso's best friend, so they already had that connection. And so it was actually such a tender thing to see this kind of tutor student bond, or even father son bond, whatever you like to call it. And he's the one who actually reveals to Aang that he's the Avatar, not this whole council. Not that there was anything wrong with that. I'm debating which one I like more in a sense, but we'll get into that. And it really shows the Fire Nation the Fire Nation rulers being ruthless. You actually see the massacre on the air temples. It is horrific. Like, this is not some. I don't think this is something that I'd put on for kids under 10 necessarily, because you actually see people get burned alive. I You never saw that in the original show. You got indications on what happened. Like, you got an indication that Fire Lord Ozai would burn Zuko's face, but you never see that happen. Here you actually see Fire Lord Sozin burn alive the spy before telling him, "Oh yeah, that was just a ruse." You even see Fire Lord Sozin use use air against one of the airbenders by sticking his burning hand into it and causing the airbender to burn herself alive. It is horrific. But then again, we did get the sense that it was horrific anyways in the original. But yeah, it's heart-wrenching to watch. And I also want to talk about the cast. for one, yes, everybody is Asian in this. So, I, for one, I never liked the. I mean, I did not like the guy that played Sokka in the. In the movie or Sokka. Oh gosh, I was glad that I did not have to put up with terrible name pronunciations. Seriously, Shyamalan, it's Ang, Ang, and Sokka, Sokka, Sokka. That shouldn't be hard. So, I like these actors. These actors are really, really good. They try hard. They actually give it their best. And I'm not going to hate on Noah Ringer in the movie because he really did give his best. And controversial opinion, I think he would have done a really good Aang if Shyamalan did not stop him from being a good Aang. Because if you look behind the scenes, he behaves like Aang in so many ways. He's mischievous, he pulls pranks, and he's clearly great at martial arts in that. And here you kind of see that too, except in this one, he's actually allowed to emote and be playful at times. I, I mean, I like whenever he's able to be playful and it's not just all, oh, I'm the Avatar. What am I to do? I have to save the world. But no, in here, he's allowed to be playful. And, the guy playing Sokka, I love this guy. I'm only 3 episodes in, but Sokka's my favorite character. And not just because of the jokes, though. This guy really makes me laugh. It's because of his facial expressions, the way he reacts, and the way he snarks back. It's just, I love this guy. I seriously love this guy. I mean, there's, I'll just say this for the 3rd episode. This is hilarious. So Jet sneaks Katara, Sokka, and Aang into Omashu, which by the way looks amazing. And he pretty much says that Katara's his wife and that Sokka is his mute brother-in-law just before Sokka says anything, and he just rolls his eyes and goes with it while looking like he's gonna say, I'm gonna kill you later. I rewound that scene 5 times. Not kidding. That just killed me. In the movie, nothing he did was funny. There was only one scene that ever made me laugh with this guy, which was basically when he gets trapped under Appa's tail. And that was funny. But otherwise, this guy was a better actor in Twilight. And yes, I said it. He was a better actor in Twilight. This guy, on the other hand, oh my gosh, he's hilarious. I love this guy. I'm pretty sure Zuko will come back to being my favorite character, but right now Sokka has replaced him. So yeah, and speaking of Zuko, his scar is there and visible. I don't think it looks that great necessarily, but it's visible. Compared to, again, the sunburn that was in the movie. But maybe it's just me, but I think I like the scar better from the Nostalgia Critics review of the top 11 best Avatar episodes. That makeup on Dante Bosco looked a lot more intense and amazing. But then again, they had some terrific makeup artists, and I'm sure that they had some good ones in the movie too, and they have some really good ones here too. But I don't know, something about that scar just doesn't quite look like a burn. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think I've seen. I mean, I think burns look a lot more intense than that, but it's still a visible scar. I mean, seriously, a visible scar. Note, Shyamalan, note. And I guess it's time to get to the cons, but I need a drink. Lemonade. Mm. Maybe I should have got cactus juice for that. So, anyways, what do I think are some of the cons for this movie? I mean, and for the record, I don't think it's bad necessarily, but don't I don't think it's perfect. For starters, I am not really thrilled that the Sozin's Comet happens at night, because if you recall from the final episode in the original series, the comet happened during the daytime, and the Fire Nation is supposed to be empowered by the inner chi, the sun, and now the comet is almost tripling that power. I mean, and I'm sure comets can happen at night, but um, there was a reason that Zuko said to Katara, "I, you rise with the moon, I rise with the sun." There was a reason he said that. I And also when they attack the air temples, even though it really does look intense and really does look amazing, it looks like they could typically it looks like a typical way that the Fire Nation would attack. I mean, there's a reason that the comet is supposed to be a big deal. Again, like I said, it triples their power. I like in the series finale, what were some of the things that they could do? I mean, for one, I what's his Iroh was able to I breathe deep in the fire and form a giant fireball and shoot it. I to attack. And um another firebender could make an entire wall of fire in order to attack. And then Fire Lord Ozai, he could take one long blast from his hand and obliterate an entire forest, or almost obliterate. Got stopped by Aang, obviously. But yeah, that is something he could do. I Thanks to the comet. And here they're just I yeah, they're attacking each other with fire, but it doesn't look as intense as if a comet was empowering them. Maybe the moments where they're burning the citizens alive, but otherwise there's so much you could do with the power of fire and the power of a comet on your side. You could make a fortress of fire. You could make a shield of fire. You could pretty much like make a tidal wave of fire to consume an entire city. Like, why couldn't we see that? I mean, I guess it wasn't entirely in the budget necessarily. I mean, and they had to. I mean, and the people on the effects team really had to work with a lot, and well, so did the actors. But still, there's so much you could do with an entire comet, on your side. But maybe I could forgive it. But then again, Shyamalan makes me forgive a lot of things. Also, is it just me, or is Appa's face weird? I mean, like, really weird. I I'm guessing that this is probably not something meant for live action, but that's just a theory. What did you guys think of Appa's face? I also remember when I mentioned about Gyatso telling Aang that he is the Avatar? Well, I'm actually a little torn on this scene because, well, there's a couple things about it that just doesn't quite rub me the right way. Um, well, I like that he gently tells Aang that he's the Avatar, but then Aang spontaneously runs away. Um, like immediate. I mean, like hours later, he runs away. He doesn't. I mean, I liked in the original how he's told by the council that he is the Avatar, and then um, eventually everybody else finds out, and from then on, his friends treat him um, like he's the cheater of the group. Like we can't play with you because then you cheat on us. You're the Avatar now. I mean, so yeah, it shows the progression on how his life completely changed. But you don't really see any progression here. You just see him going, I don't want this power. Bye. I so in some ways it kind of feels rushed on that one. I maybe that's just me, but yeah, that just felt a little rushed. And plus, the council actually had proof that he was the Avatar by showing off the toys that he used to play with, saying, these were also the toys of your previous lives. So you remembered them. You are the Avatar. You're the reincarnation of the Avatar. A, and also, when Aang and Appa run off, it just I mean, I know that they're combining the storm and the comet. I mean, the comet on the same day, but um, I'm no weather expert, but I do not think that a comet and a rainstorm would exist in the same area. If they wanted to try something new and interesting, why not have? I mean, why not have Aang when he's trying to go back? Yes, he tries to go back because it's too dangerous. Why not have Aang when he's trying to go back go there and a fireball knocks Appa out and throws both of them into the sea, and he has to airbend a sphere around them and get frozen in ice. So that'd be an interesting new look at it. I mean, I know it's not the exact same as the storm, but one of the I mean, but you don't have to necessarily be paint by numbers when doing a remake or a reimagining of the story. You have to be faithful, but at the same time, try a different angle and make these characters feel interesting. And their situation interesting. The storm really felt rushed, and Aang running away actually did feel a little rushed. I also Aang easily gets away from Zuko. When he's first captured. I mean, I know that he doesn't. I mean that he gets away a lot more easily in the movie. I which again is another reason why I forgive this series a lot more. But I in the original, Zuko literally does everything to stop Aang from getting away, jumping off the bow with the ship, I hurling fire at him, I and um and even tries grabbing at him constantly while he's on the ship too. I but when he but he has to stop when his ship is covered in ice. In here, he shoots at Aang a couple times, but that's really about it. He comes close to knocking out Aang until Katara finally water bends to stop him, but he doesn't really do much further than that. I mean, like, isn't your honor important? Isn't going back to the Fire Nation important? I mean, like, you would have jumped off a bow to just grab him. You were relentless in the show. But then again, seen the worst that they could do, where he did absolutely nothing, but here he actually throws in a couple fire punches. So, mm, half thumbs up on that one. And this is and last but not least, this is an occasional problem that I have with the series. Which is basically, yeah, there are moments where it's condensed, where it condenses the plot, but thankfully not as much as that 90-minute atrocity. But still, you have 8 episodes, 52 minutes in each of them, and plenty of time to expand on a few things. I don't rush Aang escaping. Don't rush Aang deciding I cannot be the Avatar I do not want to be. I mean, show the progression of his life. Little moments do count. I mean, they may not be necessarily Wikipedia important moments, but they're still important. But still kudos to the writers for not going Wikipedia paint by numbers writing like the other movie. But yeah. So, how do I feel about the series so far? Mixed. I mean, I'd say 75% I am happy with it. But at 25%, I think they could have improved on much. Because, well, it's a series reboot. I mean, with reboots, I want to see them try something new. And thankfully, they do try a few things new. But you have 52 minutes. You have 52 minutes an episode. Don't rush anything. Don't rush character development. Don't rush fight scenes. Don't rush character choices. But keep up the good things that you have too. Keep up the amazing acting. I mean, keep up the great acting. Keep up the amazing fight choreographies and the edits. Because, my gosh, I was so happy seeing this. And keep Sokka's sense of humor. I mean, seriously. And you see the Kyoshi warriors. Kyoshi looks amazing in this one. I also, while on the 3rd episode, I've seen the Cabbage Guy at last. And it's the original Cabbage Guy! The only thing I'm hoping, please have more scenes with the Cabbage Guy. He's a running joke in the show. Don't just make him a one-time joke in Omashu. He's supposed to go throughout. I don't know why, but and I want to hear more. My cabbages! But otherwise, I'm thrilled for this. I'm thrilled that we're getting a better reboot. I can't say that it's the best or anything, and nothing will ever top the show again. But let's be honest, this is better than the movie. So, yeah. I'm giving this a 7 out of 10 because I like what it's doing so far and I am happy with it.